Been a while since I've done one of these. But still, I'm not in a good mood today. I found out this morning that once again, instead of bothering to blow as much dough as he can to keep one of his key players, that being Edwin Diaz, David Stearns instead doubles down on his bullshit. I need to treat a large market team like a fucking small market team mentality and chooses to skip out on, at minimum, paying Edwin Diaz an additional $4 million before he walked out the door to Los Angeles for $69 million on 3 years. And you know what's even more infuriating? 2 of those years are already going to be paid up on the $38 million from his Mets contract that he walked out on. I mean, that he had left on his Mets contract, plus the 2027 option. And the Dodgers only have to pay him for 1 fucking year. And that's the 2028 season. Stearns, you need to stop being such a fucking skinflint. The small market tactics you use in Milwaukee do not fucking work in New York! Why does this shithead continue to double down on small market tactics for a large market team? I mean, sure. In football, same principle applied when David Gettleman arrived in 2018 for the Giants, and he screwed them over with his dim-witted personal hellscape, but in the opposite direction, where he went overkill spendthrift on free agency, and it was bad free agency pickups. And of course, in none of the 4 years he was the Giants GM, the team did not make the playoff cut. That said, Stearns is going down the same path, but in the opposite direction, where Gettleman would waste money, Stearns hoards it. And Stearns opts to hoard it like he was possessed by fucking Fred Wilpon's ghost. Sure. Now we have, as a damage control move, we got to rely on Devin Williams for 3 years as our ace closer. Did you not see how badly he fell to pieces with the Yankees last season? Then Stearns, if you were willing to pay $70 million for Diaz, maybe he'd be a setup man at best. But no. You choose to double down on your skinflinting. You're a piece of shit, Stearns. You need to understand, with large market squads like the Mets, like the Yankees, like the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Giants, San Francisco, not New York, the Cubs, the White Sox, the Tigers, the Cardinals, who are basically devolving into a small market team because the fans are boycotting their incompetence and mediocrity, but the point still applies. The Red Sox, to name a few. You cannot fucking afford to do small ball marketing tactics. I mean, small market tactics when putting together a roster, especially with the pitching core, because you piecemealed it last year, and instead of realizing, oh shit, my piecemealing a rotation and pitching core blew up my face. I need to burn more money to get names that can actually have long-lasting sustainability. Nope. You choose once again to fucking double down on small ball instead of going big market, spending the big market bucks. And this is what pisses me off about you, Stearns. Now, sure, when you were in Milwaukee, I didn't argue with it because it was a small market squad. Made fucking sense. But now you're with the Mets, about to be in your 3rd year. And with how badly things fell apart last year because of your stupid roster decisions, You know full well you're under the gun. But instead of adapting and going with large market tactics, you opted to double down on your bullshit small market tactics. I swear, if the Mets flop in 2026, that's it for you. Pink slip bullet right to the fucking temple. I've tried to throw your fucking ass a bone. I really have. But I'm not sure how much longer I can keep it up, to be perfectly fucking honest. Excuse me a minute. Sorry, folks. I was just trying to find someone willing to call in. Anyway, I'm at that point where I'm right. Tell me, Mets fans, aren't we all sick to death of this stuff? Can we all just stand up and say, enough? It's really getting annoying, frustrating, and disgusting that David Stearns refuses to hold himself accountable for letting these big name players get away. Now, am I holding him accountable for Brandon Nimmo? No. Nimmo demanded the trade to Texas because, for basically political reasons, terrified of the current of Mayor-elect Mondami and his bullshit agenda. And I can't blame him. I would have personally rather pumped his guts. And I can't blame Brandon. I would have run too because of my political beliefs. But otherwise, I would have just stood up and fight and pumped Mondami full of lead just to remove him from the equation if I was in Nimmo's shoes. I can't do it given distance right now. Having said that, I can't really blame Nimmo for wanting out for political reasons. But that's another bit of money the Mets are going to have to eat because I don't know how many years were left on Nimmo's contract. Now with Alonso, if Alonso leaves, that's the nail in Stearns' coffin as GM of the New York Mets. And then we have to find someone who's more of a spendthrift just to get a good number of these players, attempt to get any of these players back for 2027. And get someone like Pete back for 2027. Because rumors are Boston's now the top dog market for Alonso to walk to. And him going to the Bean Pot would be the biggest stain on Stearns' record because of his unwillingness to pay big bucks. And like I said, if Pete walks, fans are going to want Stearns' neck in a fucking hangman's noose. Because in all honesty, I'm fed up with Stearns. I mean, sure, he got us to the NLCS in 2024. But because of his unwillingness to pay guys like Luis Severino, Jose Quintana, and willing to give 1-year contract to Frankie Montas, what happened? We fell apart last season because of how piecemeal the pitching core was. Throwing with Mendoza's needless depression-based bullpen gambling, as well as his incompetence, we went from 21 up to finishing only 4 up in record and missed out on the playoffs due to a tiebreaker we couldn't obtain on the Reds over the Reds. It just all boils down to the word incompetence. This year was essentially my 30th anniversary as a New York Mets fan. I've been with this team from the ups and the downs from 1996 onward. The end of that year was when the Mets were starting to begin to turn the corner, and the fruits of that labor were showing the following 3 years. Then it went downhill 2002 onward with a couple of bright spots and a myriad of choke jobs thrown in between. It just becomes so damn frustrating and perplexing. This team can have a myriad of roster talent, but the front office doesn't want to pay them up. Because their GM is a small market skinflint. No more Timmy Trumpets until the Mets play the Dodgers again in July, in May. And the worst part is, it'll be with Edwin as a Dodger, not as a Met. Because Stearns is too much of a coward to blow the extra dough. Because that's all he is, a fucking coward. It is just so unbearably annoying that this has to happen. I feel like the Wilpon ghost will never go away unless we exercise it. I mean, what do I have to do? Fucking call Ghostbusters! Sure, I know the Wilpons are still technically alive, but the point is, what do we have to do to get rid of this ghoul, this spirit of skinflintery? If anyone wants to come in, links right there in the chat comments. If anyone ever comes in on this damn show, unless I basically rig it. It just drives me fucking insane. It's just so annoying. I mean, Kyle Schwarber, 30-year, 5-year, $150 million contract, kind of expected it. The Philly, especially when you consider the Phillies specialize him as a DH from here on out. He's never going to play outfield or third base ever again. He's never going to play the outfield ever again. I mean, does it keep the power bat and the title windows slightly open for the Phillies for the next few years? Yes. But is it going to help long term if they're just going to keep doing the same wheel spinning they've done since the end of the 2022 season? In all honesty, no. It is just so frustrating. And it makes me question why I put this damn hat on or any of my other Met caps. Blind loyalty to a team who will never return my trust, who will never requip that trust by doing what I need them to do. I don't know. But it leaves me with so many questions, so much disgust, and so much perplexity. Just why, Stearns? Why do you continue to be an unbearable skinflint who believes large market teams need to use small market tactics in free agency, winter meetings, and draft and the trade deadline? Why? That mindset and a large market squad are like oil and water. They do not fucking mix. You look at what the Phillies did. They were willing to shell out the big bucks to keep their power hitting DH Kyle Schwarber. You don't have the cojones to do that. Making matters worse, earlier or before the winter meetings even began, two of your best two coaches, Jeremy Hefner and Anton Richardson, they went down south to Atlanta. And what's that going to do? With Hefner, I don't know what he's going to do with the pitching core, but we do know what Richardson will do with the batters. Do what he did for the Mets, do for the Braves what he did for the Mets. Turn them into fucking demons on the base paths. which will put Atlanta among the top tier in 26 for space stealing when it comes to base stealing. It is so stupid. It just is. So fucking unbearably stupid. And this means the Mets are probably going to strike out on Cody Bellinger, Kyle Tucker, Robert Suarez, Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez. I mean, sure, we may get Bader back for the glove, but never the bat. But knowing Bader, after he got shafted last year, he doesn't want to come back to the Mets. And even if he did, he'd rather punch you in the dick, Stearns. It just so bothers me to no fucking end with you, Stearns. Why doth thou hoard, Stearns? Why doth thou hoard piecemeal scraps? Why do you go dumpster diving? Frugality is not going to help this team long term. You know what the Wilpons, how that blew up on the Wilpons. And yet you're going down that same damn road. Why, David Stearns? Why the fuck do you choose frugality over spendthrifting? Just why is all I want to know. Come on, Mitch. You know I sent you the link and you're not bothering to come in. I feel like I live in North Korea when you consider these penny pinching owners. I'm probably one of only a handful of channels that says anything. Baseball Hut. We gotta believe. You guys may call Stearns out too, but I don't know if you guys talking Mets with Rob. I don't know if any of you guys have had the passion I've had. Maybe you have, maybe you don't. But think of it this way. If Stearns gives us another bullshit piecemeal pitching core that Mendoza burns to the ground because he's such a gambling psychopath with analytical gameplay situations, this team is screwed in 2026. You guys know it, and I know it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to keep this up. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be too surprised that to attain success and to save his own ass, I wouldn't be surprised if Stevie Cohen ends up making the Faustian bargain. You know, selling his soul to the devil in 2026. You know, goes out of his way to sell his soul to the devil in order to get the team the title. As much as I want this team to win a World Series, I don't want it that way. Especially when the 5-year period for Pop Uncle Stevie is up. And the closest he got was Game 6 of the NLCS in 2024. I mean, and this past year, Stevie didn't bother to hold Stearns and Mendoza accountable for their fuck ups. If it was me as the owner of this team, I would discipline them severely. Basically, force Stearns to pay the big bucks to the players that we need to keep around, as well as go for broke to get the players we need to obtain. Not skinflinting it. With Mendoza, on the other hand, I'd basically threaten his job security that if he does any more of his manic, not overly nonsensical, analytical bullpen gambling again, where he disregards pitcher situations, I tell him, fuck it up, and you're fired. Because right now, I'm at the mindset, if I'm in Stevie's shoes, I'm in the mindset of not just win now, I'm saying win now no matter the cost. I mean, at any and all costs. It just infuriates me. Oh, now he tells me. Of course, I'd have to put this up as he's about to eat dinner. I mean, how much longer does this Mets franchise fan base, the 7-line army, have to fucking suffer under incompetent GMs who are too big of skinflints? I mean, sure, Billy Epler was a big time aberrational spendthrift. But David Stearns has proven to be an idiot when it comes to how much money he's not willing to waste. Would I be surprised if Pete goes to Boston? No. Would it be enough for the straw to break the camel's back and the fan base demand that Stearns be fired at the end of this season? Yes, it would be. Dead serious. My point with this episode is that David Stearns has got to fucking go. If the Mets do not make a 500 record or higher at minimum, regardless if they get into the postseason or not, David Stearns is out. And the way that Diaz's contract is structured with the Los Angeles Dodgers makes shit worse. I'm so fed up with this. How much longer do I have to put up with this crap? How much longer do Met fans have to put up with this? I really don't know what I'm doing anymore with this team. But the point is, in regards to Stearns running things, enough is enough. When this season's over, it's time for a change in the front office. No matter what. If they win the World Series, that's his only saving grace. Making it to the playoffs will be his only saving grace. Because last year's fuck ups not just on Mendoza, they also fall on him. We need a team that's a well-oiled machine, not a bunch of strewn together parts found in a dumpster that can barely hold themselves together. More so in the pitching unit than anything else. And we need a manager who is mentally stable, not one who gambles recklessly because he suffers from so much fucking manic depression that the bastard should be on suicide watch. Referring to Mendoza. I mean, seriously, if he has that level of depression, he never should have been the manager of the New York Mets to begin with. I would have been more content letting Buck run out that final year of his contract in 24. And then, would things have changed? Probably a little worse, but I think we'd still get into the postseason. Because at least unlike Mendoza, Buck actually won a series in our damn horror house that was Milwaukee. But again, Buck's biggest issue was trying to get wins in San Francisco, and series wins in San Francisco, let alone a sweep in San Fran, which was what Mendoza did. But the point still applies. Let's run down the Met 2026 schedule. Home opener against Pittsburgh on March 26th. On paper, that series should be an easy win. But as we recall, Mendoza gambled the last game away because of a rain delay. I mean, grandmother nature does force starters to stay in the dugout after the game has started, but the basic principle still applies. And we got shut out. Trust me, the gambles against Pittsburgh at the end of June were even worse. After that, 3 in St. Louis that carry into April. 2 of those games lost in gambling fits last year. 4 games in San Francisco. 3 games with the Diamondbacks, one of which was lost at home, was lost due to dim-witted gambling last year. 3 against the A's, this time at home. 3 with the Dodgers on the road. So we get this out of the way early again. Question is, can Francisco Alvarez keep his hand from getting damaged? Then a trio of 220 starts with the Cubs. What? Cubs aren't allowed to have Friday night games. 3 with the Twins, one of which wasted on a gamble at Target Field last year. 3 with the Rockies. 3 at home with Washington, one of which last year was wasted on another dim-witted gamble. You know which one I'm talking about. Then 3 on the road with the Angels, 3 at home in May, to start May. 3 on the road against the Angels. Then it's a West Coast trip for 9 games. 3 with the Angels, 3 with the Rockies, 3 with the Diamondbacks. The latter of which, for one reason or another, is going to be a Fox game. I don't know why, but I might as well call it for better or worse. Three with the Tigers. Then after the May 11th travel day, 3 with the Tigers. We took 2 out of 3 from the last game. Not really so much gambling as it was dumb pitching choices and bad base running logic. Subway Series 1 with a 7-15er. I think I'm going to be able to call that one. 4 in Washington, 3 in Miami. 3 at home versus the Reds, where we need to fix what was destroyed last time around. 3 with Miami to close at home to close out the month of May. Then to June, off to Seattle. Lou Gehrig Day. Sheesh. 3 in San Diego. Then home for 3 with the Cardinals. 3 with Atlanta. Then on the road for 3 with the Reds. 3 with Philadelphia. What the hell is with the Juneteenth thing? I don't know. Why the hell are they not playing on Juneteenth? I don't know. No, seriously. For one reason or another, the 19th is skipped unless both teams are heading to London, which is the only thing I can think of, but that wouldn't make a lot of sense. Anyway, then 4 with the Cubs. at home. 3 with the Phillies at home. Then we go into July. Which starts with the last of a 3-game trip in Toronto. Then 4 in Atlanta. Then back home for 3 with Detroit and 3 with Boston to close out the pre-All-Star break. The pre-All-Star season. Then the All-Star game in Philadelphia. Then move from 7-17, I don't know why, 3 games out of order with the Phillies, at least on the road. So basically, after the All-Star break, the Mets are staying. The rest of the Mets are coming to Philadelphia. Then they go to 3 in Milwaukee, where I hope Mendoza does not gamble away the games because he's a fucking shithead. Then home for 3 with the Dodgers. It's going to be a pain. It's going to be painful to hear those trumpets. It's with Diaz and the Dodgers in Dodger gray and blue. 3 with Atlanta, 3 with Miami. And 4 with Miami. Then off to Cleveland. Then off to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Atlanta for 3 each. 3 at home with Washington and San Diego. Travel day to Chicago, in the south side of Chicago. Then 3 with the Brew Crew, 3 with Houston, down to a refurbished Tropicana Field to end August and start September to play the Rays. Then at home with the Giants. On the road for the Marlins. 9-11 series with the Yankees. Then my birth week. 3 against Baltimore, 4 against Philadelphia, and they wrap it up at home on the road. 3 in Texas, 3 in Washington. Not necessarily Murderer's Row with the way it's stacked, but without key pieces, this is going to be, this year, when compared to last, it's going to be harder to get to the finish line, let alone win the divisional crown. Round for the Mets. The Phillies, on the other hand, let's look at who they got on the schedule. Keep in mind, I will not be doing spring training games. They start at home against Texas, Washington in 3 each. Then they go to Colorado for 3, San Francisco for 3, 3 at home with Arizona and Chicago and Atlanta. Then they go on the road for 4 with Chicago, 3 with Atlanta. Then it's 3 at home with San Francisco again. In May, they start off with 4 in Miami, 3 against the A's at home, 3 against Colorado. Then 6-game road trip to Boston and Pittsburgh before Cincinnati comes into town. Cincinnati and Cleveland come into town. Then begins their West Coast trip. 3 in San Diego, 3 with Los Angeles. Then another home stand against San Diego and the White Sox before heading up north to face both Toronto and Milwaukee. Host the Marlins and Mets. Visit the Nationals and Mets. Host the Pirates. For 3, 4, and 3, I think. Let me double check this. 4. For 4, 3, and 4. Then 3 in Kansas City, 3 in Cincinnati, 3 in Detroit. Then the All-Star game. They get a home stay to play the Mets. Then they host the Dodgers and Yankees. Visit the Marlins and Orioles to close for three each. 3 in Baltimore. Host Washington and Toronto for a collective of 7. Then on the road for 3 with St. Louis. And then the Field of Dreams game against Minnesota on August 13th. And kind of pushed away from the Sunday spot. Then back to Minnesota. Then they host the Marlins for 3, St. Louis for 3, then go to Seattle for 3, Houston, Anaheim for 3, Arizona probably for 3. Yep. Then they come home to host the Braves for 4, including Labor Day. 3 against Houston at home, 3 against Atlanta on the road, 2 against Washington, 4 against the Mets, 3 against Milwaukee, and 3 against Tampa to close it out. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. And with Schwarber back, even with the title window closing for the Phillies, I still think they have a better shot at getting further along. I mean, sure, they have to gut a few of their pieces, but the question is, which ones are they going to bother getting rid of? I mean, you've got, aside from Schwarber, you still need to find a way to keep around Trey Turner, Harrison Bader, Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez, JT Realmuto, Otto Kemp, Max Kepler, and so forth. Or in these winter meetings. And even if you do manage to keep these pieces, you're going to be one arm short. Zach Wheeler is out for the year due to thoracic surgery. And he's also announced that his last full season will be 2027. Then when he comes back. And with your title window basically shrinking to a close, who's going to be there to try to pick up the pieces? I mean, sure, the Marlins were a significant step up last year, finishing 4 under 500, but they haven't been relevant in almost 20 years, in over 20 years. And what I mean by relevant, I mean actually winning a damn playoff game or series. 23, the Marlins basically stumbled into the postseason through pure dumb luck. And I'll leave it at that. And once they got there, they're just like Plankton after getting the Krabby Patty formula. He didn't know what to do with it. And because he never thought he'd get that far. And what am I supposed to do with this skinflint setup? I don't know. just is so disgusting with Stearns. How do I cope with this? Most of the answer is I can't. It just drives me fucking nuts. With how downright despicable this is. True, I've only been doing this show for roughly a year, and there's not many episodes unless I want to go off the handle or follow playoff stuff. And in one of these cases, in this case, it's a kind of the former. I'm just so sick of this team choosing to go down the road of frugality instead of spendthrift, instead of progality. Where's the justice when the guilty all go free? Why don't we lock them up and throw away the key? I know whatever my audience is in here sees a young man's anger burning within my eyes. But what you see is my impatience with this team's quote unquote noble compromise. Show me what's right about the wrongs that we allow. This team needs to win here and now. Their whole damn setup is broken way beyond repair. It's just law, not law and order, not much good, seldom fair. I know what you're saying. The law is made and baseball is made for everyone. We're treated all the same. They're treated all the same. Yeah, until a high ranking business lawyers can bend the rules and fix the blame. Like in the case with the Dodgers, where they're always deferring money to their big time players instead of eating the contracts, having them pay the full contracts. Where's the justice if there's any of it? I know what you're saying. My simple arguments have all been made before. The world's not black and white, and the choice isn't either or. But maybe it's time to drain that we go out of our way to drain the color from within. Till we're back to seeing black and white and wrong and right again. True, my overwrought pronouncements won't improve the paradigm. But wait until lawyers cut deals and that becomes a crime. Let the bullshit corporations make the regulations and hold no one accountable when everything goes wrong. Let the rich and famous get away with murder. Every time those high-priced mouthpiece starts to talk, his client gets it to walk. Tell me where's the justice in that, if any? And what good are rules and regulations that doesn't punish those who either bend in or break them? And I'm looking at you, Los Angeles Dodgers, with your stupid money deferral tactics. I swear, if the Dodgers get a three-peat, this is going to call for a damn salary cap. It may be the only way to gut the Dodgers, but so fucking be it. Where is the justice in all of this? Just run to the core. And if the Dodgers win that third title, MLB is fucked beyond repair. And I don't think nobody can disagree with that at this point in time. If anyone wants to call in, the links are right here. The link is right here. I really do not like going to this one. I just don't understand it. The point to this video is, to this episode of On the Diamond, is to call David Stearns out for how much of a cancer his skinflinting and frugality are about to be to the Mets. I thought we were out of this phase when we got rid of Fred Wilpon, but it seems his ghost still carries a lingering stench. Maybe the tree would be willing to come on. There he is. Knowing him, he's not going to do it either. It just drives me up a wall. I've been pushed as far as I can go with this. in terms of Mendoza's and Stearns' skinflint and incompetence. Tree, if you're watching, you might as well get Lolmets 2026 up and running. I'm dead fucking serious. Oh, shut up, Stearns. And I mean, that's the point. And I think this comment by Jason Alonso with a Z, not an S, may be the reason why Stearns needs to go. He's creating a culture of disrespect and disconnect from anyone who has any form of influence. Okay, fine. Nemo's neck injuries may be a liability. But here's the thing. You trade him for an infielder who at this point may be a utility man in Marcus Semien. Now, again, I don't hold that against Stearns. That was Nemo in a panic. But the problem with this kind of culture is, hello, Joey. Do you want to come in? I was waiting for somebody to make a comment. Is by disconnecting with players who have some form of influence and sway, you're doing the team more harm than good in terms of morale. Most of them are busy with other shit. That's what. You send these bastards so many links, and yet they never bother to come in, man, treating you like like a bunch of goats, and I don't mean in the good way. Yes, Mitch is having dinner. You almost always do that, Joey. I could use some company. Hello, Danny. Look, I'm sorry for getting pissed off, folks. He never does. All he does is say hi, is Nanikian hellos, and then leaves, Joey. And I put emphasis on Nanikian. He's doing She Got Game with Man Cave right now. His WNBA podcast show right now. No, I don't. I mean, I keep tabs on the WNBA, but I don't really care for it. Jeez. Since nobody wanted to come on tonight. The winter meetings. And how David Stearns has screwed the pooch big time. longest episode, and nobody bothers to come on, no matter how hard I invite them. Even with some of the logic behind why Diaz chose to walk, it's still on Stearns to hold himself accountable, well, and at least attempt to do more than skinflint people. And if Pete goes to Boston, that ultimately becomes the straw that breaks the camel's back. When 2026 is done, the fan base might as well send Stearns to death. Unless the team makes the postseason cut. Because at that point, that's the only way Stearns' ass is going to be saved. It just drives me fucking insane that this sort of shit has to happen. I don't know how much longer I'm going to hold out. I really don't. But in this case, I'm done for the night. That's it for tonight's On the Diamond podcast show. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. I'm Mets228. I'll be back in about 40 minutes for NXT Deadline Aftermath. Goodbye. Good night. Bang. What a waste of a show.